It was midnight at the reef. There shone a tombstone sitting near a resting place. This was the resting place for a known shark named Frankie, who died in the tragic accident by being hit and crushed by an anchor, which ended his life very quickly. Lenny swam up to his brother's grave, looking around, being mindful of his surroundings, hoping it was just him there and no unexpected surprises show up. Thankfully, there wasn't, as it was just him and the tombstone that read, R.I.P. Frankie. Lenny began to stop and looked at it for a few seconds before finally speaking. I'm here, Frankie, in a soft voice. Lenny may not have a good relationship with his brother, due to him being different, and his brother would tease him constantly for it. But this didn't mean he wanted his own brother to die. Lenny felt haze in his eyes and he continued to speak. I wish things were different. I know I haven't been a good brother to you, but I want you to know that Pap has finally accepted me for who I am. And if only you did too. Lenny felt a tear run down his cheek as he sniffled. I'm so sorry, Frankie, for everything. If only you could hear me right now, and you can forgive me. The voice spoke. I wish I was a better brother to you too, Lenny. This made Lenny stop for a brief moment. He looked up and saw what appeared to be a ghostly spirit of Frankie. For Frankie? Lenny stuttered as he looked at the ghost of his brother, tears welling up in his eyes, so he just couldn't believe it. Lenny just couldn't hold it back. He cried, Oh, Frankie, I'm so sorry. If only things were different, this wouldn't have happened. I feel like it's my fault you're gone. Lenny then felt a warm touch on his shoulder. Frankie, although as a ghost, placed his fin on Lenny's shoulder. Don't blame yourself, Lenny. I shouldn't have treated you badly for being different from all the other sharks. I'm sorry too. Even I wish things were different. Lenny thought he was dreaming or seeing things, but this was no dream. It was all too real to him, and as he heard Frankie's voice comforting him, all Lenny could do was cry as he clutched his head. He felt the warmth as it was something he never felt before in his life, something Frankie never had done when he was alive. Now doing it while a spirit. Oh, and tell Pop to come visit here. Bring him here so he doesn't think you're crazy, all right? Frankie said. Lenny looked up at his brother and nodded, while tears ran down his cheeks. Better wipe away those tears before you arrive home, Frankie said jokingly to Lenny, to which Lenny took it well back and wiped away his tears. Yeah, see you soon, Frankie. Frankie's spirit then vanished back into the heavens. Lenny swam home all the way while circled in his mind, slapping himself in the face a couple times, still thinking if he was either hallucinating or if it was all a dream. It was neither. It was this real for him, then hopefully he could show his dad too. Don Lino was in the middle of feeding his piranha fish when he noticed his son Lenny heading to his room. Don Lino looked and followed his son, who was already sitting at the bed looking at the window. Lenny? Don Lino curiously asked as he swam into Lenny's room. Lenny turned and looked at his father. Oh, Pop, I need to tell you something, but you have to promise not to find me crazy, Lenny said, a bit nervous. Don Lino raised an eyebrow, confused. Okay, and did something happen to you while going out that night? No, Pop, it's not that, it's... Lenny felt a bit hesitant to say, as if he worries his father would think he's crazy. Well, what is it? Come on, Lenny, we've been through this many times. I'm your father. If something's bothering you, you tell me. Lenny swallowed and let out a sigh before he spoke. I saw him. Don Lino was confused. Saw who? I went to Frankie's grave, and I seen his ghost. I know you'll probably think I'm crazy, but Pap, I can prove it to you if you just follow me to his resting place. I promise you what I saw isn't a dream. Don Lino was rather shocked by this slightly, but however he stood silent for a few seconds, as he really didn't know how to think hard on what he should say and how to put it. Don Lino let out a sigh, as he just couldn't find it all the imagination. Remember the loss of Frankie, and now how he wished he was a better father to both of his boys. He sat down on Lenny's bed and placed his fin on Lenny's shoulder. I actually believe you, son. I know that you miss him as much as I do, and I really wish I was a better father to you both. If I hadn't treated you for being different, we wouldn't have lost Frankie. Whenever I look back on this happened, sometimes I feel that I could prevent all this from happening by being a better father and telling Frankie to be easy on you, but sadly I didn't." Lenny listened and could only understand where Don Lino was coming from. His only father who took care of him while they had their ups and downs, but he knew his father had already owned up to his mistakes a while ago. But then again, at the same time, he can get where he's coming from. "Pop, you know I already forgive you. Even Frankie, he even wished he was a better brother to me when I visit his resting place," Lenny said, as he tried his best not to get emotional. Don Lino, however, could see it in his son's eyes and didn't want him to stop and kept bottled up in. "Lenny, you don't need to always keep your emotions bottled in, son. I won't scold you for it. I promise. If you need to let it out, then let it out. We will go visit your brother's grave tomorrow. You did the right thing by telling me and finally making peace with your brother, who's even made peace with you. You should probably get some sleep now. It's starting to get late." Lenny nodded as he smiled at his father. "Thanks, Pop, for believing me." "Hey, son, it's no problem. I feel bad for what just happened just as much as you do. Hope you get some sleep now. I promise we'll visit that resting place tomorrow. Good night." "Good night, Pop," Lenny said, as he lay down on his bed while Don Lino exited out of Lenny's room. The next day, Lenny and Don Lino both headed over to the place where Frankie died. Everything was silent. They then swam over to the R.I.P. Frankie tombstone, and they both stood there in front of it. Don Lino began to speak. "If you can hear me, Frankie, I want to say I'm sorry for everything, for not being a perfect father, and that I should have treated you both and Lenny well, and have you been more easy on Lenny, otherwise we wouldn't have lost you. I've made mistakes though. I hope you could forgive me and understand now I'm trying to improve to be a better father to my son Lenny. If only I could have done the same for you too." "Hey, Pop," the ghostly voice spoke. Don Lino looked up and saw a ghostly spirit of Frankie, and he was in utter shock. "Frankie, is that really you?" Frankie placed his ghostly fin on his father's shoulder. His warm touch hit Don Lino, and for the first time, Don Lino felt tears in his eyes. "I should have never doubted you, Pop. I should have never doubted Lenny either. I am also sorry for not being the best son to you and brother to Lenny. I want to thank you both for coming to visit me and pay your respects." Don Lino sniffled. "Oh, Frankie, you know I missed you so much, son. Me and Lenny, if only we could go back to the way things were and be a better family." "Hey, I'm sure that will happen someday. I miss you both too, you know. I know there isn't a way to bring me back, but we have an afterlife up here for a reason, you know." "You're right," Don Lino said. "There is always an afterlife, and we hope to see you there when that time comes. Oh, and one more thing before I go," Frankie said. "Bring it in, you too." Lenny and Don Lino both hugged Frankie, and even though Frankie's ghost, they felt warm touch from him yet again. Lenny and Don Lino both shedded tears from this, as they were the only embrace whatever they felt left from Frankie. Something Frankie had never done while he was still alive. It was time for Frankie to go. "See you two on the other side, and don't be afraid to come visit me each year," Frankie said, before vanishing back to the heavens. Lenny and Don Lino waved as Frankie vanished, sniffling and shedding tears. Don Lino hugged his son Lenny. "Thank you, son, for bringing me here, so I can own up to my mistakes with Frankie. I'm very proud of you for doing the right thing for the family. Hopefully we can bring the rest of the family to visit here and have them see that Frankie will always be in our hearts." "You're welcome, Pop. And that seems like a good idea. We'll do that next time we visit." The two sharks then swam back up to each home. Each year has gone by, and the sharks would visit Frankie's grave, and they would be greeted by the warm touch of the ghostly spirit of Frankie, letting them all know that he'll always be there watching over, and hopes that someday they'll all be a family again in the afterlife. Wow, that was certainly a pretty good Shark Tale Feelspasta. And that, my pretties, was Lenny Visits Frankie's Grave, a Shark Tale, Feelspasta, or Sadfic, whatever you prefer to call it, written by King Herman the Wise. My final thoughts on this story. I actually have to say this was a pretty good Feelspasta. I personally really liked this one a lot. I thought this was a really good and well-made concept. I mean, I can see it being a real thing in Shark Tale. Like, haven't seen Shark Tale in years, so I do remember, Lenny dying at one point, but, I haven't seen, Shark Tale in ages, so, yeah. My memory was pretty fuzzy on that, so I'm gonna have to watch this movie again, even though I haven't seen this movie in years. I definitely have to say it's definitely an enjoyable movie. I definitely recommend Shark Tale. This film is obviously really good. I personally really enjoyed this story. The grammar was really good, the sentence structure was really good, the storyline, everything about it was just flat out amazing. I personally really thought it was really enjoyable. It's a really good story. I personally really enjoyed it a lot. It's definitely a pretty interesting concept of basically Lenny visiting Frankie's grave, his brother's grave. So obviously this was actually pretty cool, like the concept of it. But it is sad, I will say that now. It was a sad story involving someone losing a brother due to a tragedy, which it's unfortunate that it happens to a lot of people. Like, we can't control if we lose people, if that makes sense. Well, I guess with that being said and that being the case, I'll leave a link to the description of this story so you guys can go check out this story if you haven't. It's a really good one, and I definitely recommend reading it. It's a really good story by King Herman the Wise. So, anyways, I want to say, Herman, thank you so much for letting me, read this story. This was fantastic. I enjoyed it a lot. So, I definitely have to say this is definitely an enjoyable story. Now, I'm going to sit here and say, like I always continue to say, this is just simply my own personal opinion. If you disagree with it, that's perfectly fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these stories, and this is just simply my own personal thoughts. I'm going to give this story a 10 out of 10. It's a really good Feelspasta. It is sad, yes, but it is a good story. I personally really enjoyed this story. Now, I'm going to have to watch Shark Tale again since I haven't seen that movie in years, but it's definitely a really good film. I recommend it. I know I said it before, but I thought I would say it again. This is definitely an enjoyable story. I personally enjoyed it. I know it was sad, but it was still a pretty good story. I personally really enjoyed it a lot. So anyways, what did you guys personally think of this Feelspasta? Did you all enjoy it? Did you all not? Also, what would you have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments section down below. I'm Shadow the Lion Queen. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Ring the bell for notifications to when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. As always, if you guys want to go follow me on Blue Sky, follow me on Twitter, follow me on DeviantArt. Links to those will be in the About page section, so you guys can go follow me on there. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my backup channel known as Ms. Dark Shigo, as a link to that will also be in the About page section, so you guys can go follow me on there. And as always, that's pretty much all I have to say, but if I'm missing something that was not said, let me know what it is in the comment section down below. So, as always, I'll be seeing you guys all in the next video. Peace out, and like always, roll the outro, because I'm out. What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. I want to appreciate you all for tuning into this video, and I do appreciate you guys supporting my video by giving this video likes and stuff. If you really enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload, so that way you guys will get updated for whenever I upload. If you want to follow me on Twitter or DeviantArt, feel free to leave a follow on those if you are interested in following me on those socials. If you want to support my backup channel, known as Ms. Dark Shigo, feel free to subscribe to it, as a link to that will also be in the About page section. And with that being said, and that being the case, thank you so much for watching, my pretties, and as always, Stay pretty.